Zero Angels is an actual play podcast using the Girl Frame system by Anxious Mimic Games. This show is intended for adult audiences and will cover subject matter that may be disturbing or triggering to some listeners. If you haven't already, consider listening back to our kink and safety conversation in episode 0 to see if our show might be something you enjoy. This episode in particular will feature the following: physical abuse, forced dissociation, implied incest, sexual assault, rape. Timestamps for these can be found in the description. Listener discretion is advised.
The camera slowly fades in on an office that we haven't seen before, but it appears that it's a doctor's office of some kind. There's a desk, a very utilitarian chair, a series of filing cabinets. It's all very cold and clinical. It smells like disinfectant. And sitting there in a chair is Cass. And standing behind it is Dr. Mizuki Saito, who is holding a hairbrush. As the camera fades in, a title card appears at the bottom. January 31st, 2235. Foundation Intercept Base NW12.
Cass, you've done so well recently, the doctor says, gently dragging the brush through Cass's hair.
Cass sits stoically upright, like it's a doll. Its face has no expression. I've been told I've done well last mission.
Indeed. We're all very, very excited at the results. How do you feel about it?
Cass, before you continue answering, I do want you to roll bad at being a person, please.
That's an 8.
All right, you can pick 3 from the list, and the others you can't do.
I would like to use human words, normal sentence structure, and deception.
Interesting choice. All right, please continue.
Cass's expression doesn't change as you ask it that. It sits there calmly for a moment, thinking about what you ask. I don't know. I don't really feel. The words are still hard.
Yes, that would make sense. And Dr. Saito runs their fingers along the side of your head, gathering a clump of hair in their palm. Despite our best attempts, it does seem that something in your head still has not clicked back into place. But maybe we'll be able to get that soon, yes?
Would knowing who I once was help?
Saito lets go of your hair, gently removes the hairbrush, and walks around in front of you, giving you an even, firm look. You are CA 5577. Cass. An experimental new pilot for the Foundation. Who you were before that is not significant.
Cass has a small spasm in its chair. Its shoulder clicks up all of a sudden, and it looks up at the ceiling. They called me Blondie.
Where did you hear that name?
At the photo shoot. One of the people interviewing us compared one of us to Blondie.
And who told you about this name? Was this the first you'd heard of it?
Cass spasms again. Her head snaps down looking at her lap, and her mouth contorts into a weird smile. Blondie was famous. Blondie's name still lives.
Yes, Blondie was an amazing pilot. You, Cass, are an amazing pilot. And I don't understand where this silly little idea in your head came from. And Dr. Saito gently taps your forehead. That just because that's the case, you're the same.
Cass's head snaps up, and she makes eye contact with the doctor. Blondie is dead. Couldn't she be a good teaching figure? You did say she was amazing. Shouldn't I learn how to be amazing?
The doctor thinks on this for a moment. Then the doctor stands and, muttering to themselves, turns away from you, stroking their chin and pacing the room. I suppose it's possible that making a connection through research of previous exploits could hypothetically speed up the reacclimation process. But are there too many risks involved? No. Perhaps you're right, Cass. And Dr. Saito turns back to you and smiles widely, and then walks behind you and begins to brush your hair again. I suppose nothing could hurt by giving you an overview of some of Blondie's most successful missions.
Cass taps the arm of her chair. My apologies. I can't quite control myself yet.
Of course, Cass. All of these things in due time. In the meantime, close your eyes and just enjoy this. You've earned it. And Dr. Saito, once more, runs their fingers through your hair, gathering it up and stroking the brush across your scalp.
Cass doesn't enjoy it. Cass can't feel enjoyment anymore. All it feels is the sensation of you brushing its hair.
I think as you close your eyes, the camera fades to black, and we hear the sound of a brush being pulled through the hair. And the episode title card appears. Episode 3, The Mirror of Perfection. And before we continue, Cass, I'd like you to mark the malfunctioning identity and take 2 heat. And I'd like you to take the tag liar.
This is the 92nd Pilot Cadre of the Foundation, stationed in the North American constituent state's Northwestern Territory. Led by their handler, Colonel Mira Voss, they are responsible for the defense of Sector 12 and the complete elimination of the Gorgon threat on Earth.
As the camera fades in again, we see Eurydice. Eurydice, what are you doing right now that we're fading in on?
Well, right now Eurydice is heading towards the frames. She wants to poke around a little bit more.
Okay, you're going to go to the frame bay. When you say poke around a little bit more, what do you mean exactly?
Well, I know last time Eurydice climbed into the frame physically. I want to do a diagnostic this time.
Okay, so you take the elevator up to the gantry, you load yourself into the cockpit, and you're going to open up the frame in diagnostic mode. So this feels different than starting up the frame normally. It's normally the feeling of plugging into the frame is one of expansion. Your senses become sharper and clearer as all the sensors filter into your mind. This is more like putting your head underwater. Everything is kind of muffled. The sound fades away. It's like being inside a cocoon or maybe a womb. You can hear the blood in your ears. You can hear your heartbeat. And you have access to your frame systems. You just can't move it around or anything like that. But you can do internal diagnostics if you want.
Well, can I dive deep again to try and speak with whatever is in my frame?
You absolutely can. All right, do you have any heat you want to spend?
I have no heat yet because I spent all my heat trying to kill that Gorgon, didn't I?
Well, you killed it, so.
Okay, well, that's a 10.
That's a 10. All right, you may speak with her freely, and then at the end of the conversation, you get to choose one. So, what are you doing exactly to dive deep here? Describe this to me.
So, same as last time, I just sort of let myself melt into the cockpit. Metaphorically, but there's a physical sensation of melting as well. And as I do that, I am thinking as audibly as I can, hey, can you hear me?
You don't hear a response at first. There's nothing. It's quiet. For a minute, you think that maybe what happened before was just a fluke, or maybe you hallucinated it for some reason. But then after a minute, you can start to feel that sense of presence again, that you're not alone in the cockpit anymore. You can start to hear that same rhythmic breathing and the beating of another heart besides your own. And you hear a familiar voice. You again.
Okay, so I wasn't hallucinating. There is someone here.
There's no response at first. And then after a minute, here. Yes.
Okay, I'm trying to figure this out, because this is fucking weird. Who are you? Are you alive? What?
We cannot. We don't. Confusion. There's a feeling, you experienced this the last time, a sense that there's this pain. You can't quite tell where it's coming from, but you can almost feel it. Like a flinch.
I'm gonna take that as a yes. Ugh.
Far away now. So far away. Hard. Speaking is... Again, that sense of pain. Even to say this much is taking an incredible effort by this, whatever it is. You're still not sure.
Last time, you asked me who I was. Can you tell me who you are?
There's no response. It feels like whatever this thing is, it wants to say something, but it can't respond to you. And then a long sigh. Hurts us so much.
I want to try something weird. And you're allowed to tell me if this isn't going to work and this isn't going to make sense.
Go for it.
But I want to use one of my permissions to remove one of her tags. I mean, the one I was going to suggest was she is in pain. And I was wondering if there was some sort of way that through this link, through this psychic link going on, I could absorb some of the pain.
You know what? I'll let you do it. I'm going to let you spend a permission to do this. We're going to play this out, and yeah, you're going to take something for it.
So clearly, I can feel her pain through this psychic link.
Yes.
And pain is nothing more than your brain telling you that part of your body hurts.
Yeah, that's one way to look at it.
So yeah, I wonder if I can just sort of just take some of her pain.
I want you to describe what this feels like for you.
I think I feel an extraordinary stab in the center of my back. It radiates out to my limbs, but it is very concentrated in that back and shoulder region. I don't take all of the pain, but I want to say I take enough that she can communicate more clearly.
So as you're doing this, you're focusing your attention on your frame, on diving into the core of your frame, and you feel this wrenching pain. It's physical, yes, but there's something else to it too. It feels like what you would imagine it would feel like if someone tore your soul out of your body, like some essential part of you is being torn away from you. And for a brief flash of a second, you have the striking image of an angel having its wings torn off, and then that image fades and you find yourself sitting there in your cockpit, breathing heavily, and you hear a sigh in the back of your mind. Thank you.
Oh, wow, what? Ow. What was that?
Pain that we felt for years, torn away, cast out.
What did they do to you?
You feel another familiar sensation, the sense of laughter, but there's a bitterness to it.
You know what they do to everyone, what they do to all of us.
And as this is happening, you're starting to feel the connection starting to waver. It's hard to hold on to this conversation, the pain, and you can still feel it physically. I want you to take the tag sundered. As this is happening, you're losing your connection with your frame. You're starting to come back out into the standard diagnostic mode. But I want you to pick one from the list for dive deep. You have a few choices if you have the list in front of you.
I feel like erasing identities is probably the right thing to do here.
Okay, so you want to erase an identity and write a new one?
Yeah.
Which identity would you like to erase, and what do you want to replace it with?
So yeah, I'm gonna erase wired and replace it with disgusted.
I also want you to mark the independent identity and take 3 heat.
Cool.
As you come out of this, you're still in the frame, but you feel like you've lost some of that connection that you had as you come back up. Are you going to do something next? Are you just going to get out of the frame?
I'm gonna get out of the frame. As I get out of the frame, my neck is really itchy. My port is itchy. Scratching my port a little bit. As I step out of the frame, I want to say I run into Rachel Romero.
Yeah, okay. Where do you run into her? Do you run into her while you're still up in the gantry? Do you run into her when you go back down?
I think I've gone back down, and I'm about to leave, and I run into her, and I get an idea.
Okay. She waves at you and nods politely, and then she's starting to go off and continue about her business.
Yeah, I'm gonna go up to her, and I am going to say, "Hey, you're Attack, right?"
I mean, yeah, I'm one of the engineers here. I'm new, but yeah, I am. What, do you have a question about your frame or something?
You wouldn't happen to have blueprints, plans, information about how this girl works here?
She looks around, and you see she looks a little nervous. I mean, I mean, I can get that, but that stuff is really classified, and we're supposed to ask permission from the chief engineer before we take any of that out. So, I know you're the pilot, and I get wanting to know everything about your frame. I mean, they're really cool, and it's really neat, and I mean, I could talk for hours about these things, but also, that's... I can't just get that for you. I could get in a lot of trouble. You can put in a request with the chief engineer if you want, but, he's,
Listen, I get it. You're new, you don't wanna piss anyone off. Listen, my old frame, I was with her for years. I knew her so well. I knew her inside and out. And I don't know, this new girl, she feels a little stiff, a little weird. I was trying to get to know her a little better, and I just can't get into her mind. You know what I mean? This would be super helpful for my ability in the field.
Rachel looks up at your frame, and you can see her nodding, and she looks concerned for a second, and then her expression returns to normal. I mean, yeah, I get it. Your frame it's kind of weird. I've never worked on one like it before. There's a lot of stuff we're not supposed to touch, and they had a special technician coming in when it was first brought in to get everything set up, so it's I get it.
How about this? If you can get me some plans, some blueprints, something about this girl here, I could get something for you.
What, something for me? Like what? I don't...
I see how you look at Artemis.
I'm... She turns red and stammers and looks down. I don't know what you're talking about. That's... What do you mean?
I don't know, just something in your eyes tells me you're pretty fond of it.
I mean, it and I, we joined up together, and it's nice. I don't know.
Artemis is super green, super new. It's not had enough time to really let this whole pilot situation mess with his brain too much, and you seem like a normal girl.
I mean,
I think you'd be good for it.
What are you doing? I don't
know. I think you two should spend some time together. I can schedule some time. Find a time that I know it's not working. You guys could just hang out.
Okay. I mean, I don't know. That's,
This is gonna be weird. I am not flirting with Rachel myself. I am trying to flirt with Rachel on behalf of Artemis. Does that work?
Yeah, if you wanna flirt, go on and say with who. Spend heat and roll, baby.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess I am flirting on behalf of Artemis,
Great.
whether or not Artemis wants it
Amazing.
Great. Awesome. So happy.
or not. And I'm gonna add a heat.
You're gonna add 1 heat. Okay, cool.
Okay. Well, that was a 7, so that 1 heat makes it an 8. Fuck yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so on an 8 to 10, it's easy. Each of you can unmark 2 of your identities. It's an NPC. She doesn't have identities. And you can ask her one. If you follow through on giving her what she wants, deepen your bond. That's not how it works with NPCs, but like, yeah, it's all right. It's fine. You get an NPC bond with Rachel, and yeah, go ahead and ask one and play this out.
You're so cute about that whole hiding it thing, but I can see right through you.
Okay, she's turning really, really red.
Listen, I've been here a while. Nothing phases me. I've seen the weirdest relationships between the weirdest people.
What do you?
You can tell me the truth.
Okay,
You want to get in Artemis's pants?
Oh my
Or do you want
god.
Artemis to get in your pants?
She puts her head in her hands and like looks like she's trying to hide from you, which is not super effective given that you're in a open frame bay and there's nowhere to go. I mean, she lowers her voice. Yeah, kinda. But, I mean, it's a pilot. It's a pilot, and that's like,
Who cares?
what do you mean, who cares?
You're green. You're new. You're trying to follow the rules so you don't lose your job.
Yeah.
But who cares?
What do you mean, who cares? I could get in so much trouble.
Who's gonna find out?
You haven't noticed that there's cameras everywhere and they check our logs and stuff? So,
We are able to request privacy.
Okay, if Major Attali finds out, she's gonna kill me.
She can't kill you.
I think she definitely can, actually.
I mean, she's capable of it for sure, but do you know how expensive that would be for her to kill you? Do you know how much money they put into your training?
No.
You're not as expensive as we are, but I don't know. They had to. Well, they feed you on the base, don't they?
Yeah.
They fed you during training?
Yeah, they fed me during training.
They had to spend all those hours training you. How long was your training?
It's 6 months.
6 months of instruction.
That
That they paid for. You didn't pay a single dime. You are too expensive to kill.
I don't. I don't. Look, okay. Will you leave me alone if I say that I like Artemis? That I think that she. That I think that it's really pretty, and I. Yeah, maybe I thought about some stuff, but you can't do that. That's.
I'll leave you alone if you get me those blueprints.
She looks around the frame bay and then leans in towards you. Look, you can't tell anyone about that, okay? You can't.
My lips are sealed. Who am I gonna tell? I promise you I won't tell Artemis. And the shell of a person who's our third? No. Wouldn't dream of it.
I mean, I'm more worried about you telling Major Attali or Colonel Voss.
You think I want to spend time with Major Attali?
She looks down and furrows her brow. Okay, yeah, she did hit you pretty hard the other day.
Like I said, my lips are sealed.
She takes a deep breath and squares her shoulders. Okay, I can't get you the master plans, but I can make a burner copy for you, and you can look at them, and then you have to promise to destroy them because... And if somebody asks, you stole them, or you threatened me.
Yeah. You know what? I did threaten you. Let's say that. I threatened you with embarrassment.
She gets a little bit of a smile on her face. Yeah. Okay. Give me some time. The chief engineer is... Look, he's been here a long time, and he thinks that he sees everything, but he's getting sloppy, and I know how I can make copies without him knowing, but it's gonna take me a couple of days, okay?
Fine by me.
Okay, I'll let you know when I get them. I'll say your package came in. Yeah, I watched a spy show once that they did that. They had code words for everything.
Well, I eagerly await my package.
Okay, yeah. Okay. And then you promised, right?
I did promise. Not a word, and the offer still stands. Private room.
Okay, I gotta go get back to work, or they're gonna wonder why I'm spending so much time talking to you, 'cause...
I get it. Go tighten a bolt or whatever it is you do.
She kind of, like, deflates a little bit, and then nods, and still very red, she slinks off to somewhere else in the frame bay. And I think we fade out on that.
Yeah.
I think the next scene we're going to fade in on is going to be something with Artemis. And so Artemis was the dog the last time.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. And I think the way that this has started to manifest itself is, so there's a punishment called quality time.
Mm-hmm.
Which is basically like you're spending time with the person punishing you doing something. It's horrifically vague about what, and it deepens your bond with that person. And so I think what has happened here is Colonel Voss has contacted you and basically told you, like, you're going to be accompanying her somewhere. She's been very vague about it. The only stipulation is she's told you don't have to be in uniform. You don't have to wear your, like, pilot, plug suit type thing. But she's asked you to meet her at the regular hangar that has, like, the helicopters and shit. So presuming that Artemis isn't going to try to, like, disobey orders or anything, I think we're going to pick it up at the scene where they're, like, getting into the helicopter, basically.
Okay.
If that works for you, unless you want to, like, roll it back a little bit.
No, I think I'm perfectly fine with that. I think Artemis is wearing pretty much exactly what she was wearing the day she showed up.
Excellent. You see the colonel there, and there's a couple of, like, security personnel and, like, the pilot, and there's a transport helicopter there. Artemis, I'm glad you could make it. There's something that I think you need to see, and unfortunately it will be a little bit of a trip. So if you're ready to spend some time out in the wide world, let's be on our way.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to be doing today.
Excellent. I'm terribly sorry to cut into your off-duty time like this, but, well, I think you'll see it's rather important. I think as you're having this conversation, you've settled into the helicopter, and it's taking off, and you can see below the base receding. I don't know that I've mentioned this on camera before, but the base itself is on the southern tip of, like, a little island off the coast of the, like, Pacific Northwest area. So as you're pulling up, you see this island receding. I think it's, like, early afternoon or maybe late morning, so the sun is out. You can see the ocean glinting below you. You can see this island receding. There's a few different towns and cities. You can see the airport you came in on a few days ago, and the helicopter is cutting its way across past the mountain ranges and off basically to the east. As you're flying, The handler is looking out the window. And it's noisy in the helicopter, but you've got like a headset on, so you can hear what she's saying if she says anything.
I know that the Major was hard on you after the last mission, but I do want to commend you for your work.
I think Artemis has been tense as it's gotten into the helicopter. Its shoulders sort of visibly relax when Mira says that.
I appreciate that, but I didn't really accomplish much.
Oh, see, you aren't the only one out there. I know I talked about being the face of the cadre, but you still have a cadre behind you. One of the things that made this unit so effective previously was its commitment to working together and tackling a threat as one unit, and the fact that you were willing to rush in and confront the enemy so readily and open up the space for your fellow pilots to destroy the Gorgon before it could do more damage. I don't want you to be under the impression that this is a solo activity, what you're doing. You're part of a unit.
Well, thanks, Major. I'll do my best to continue to be even better in the future.
As you say that, you see the Colonel kind of like raise an eyebrow, and then she doesn't say anything to that mistake. She just nods.
Yes, well, I think the idea that we can just take someone and give them 6 months of training and then expect them to shoulder the burden of humanity's salvation on their shoulders it's... If it weren't so dire, it would be almost comical, but pilots are born as much as they're made. It's complicated. The technicians understand it better than I do, but I know there's a certain degree of, well, I like to think of it as heart to it. It's something undefinable, something that you can't teach someone. They have to have it inside of themselves, and then our job is to draw it out, to refine it, to forge it into a blade to use against the enemy.
I appreciate what you're saying, but it's like you said, it's dire.
Of course.
We don't have time for me to sit around and let the rest of the cadre pick up the slack while I'm figuring it out.
Of course, you're right. But you're out there in the field and you're learning quickly, and I'm sure that you can find a way to...
She looks down again and she kind of trails off. She points down towards there's a town at the head of there's a wide river that kind of cuts up, and there's a little sort of sprawling town that you can see from the air.
Down there, that town down there that's the town of New River. There's 20,000 people living there. 20,000 people who, based on our projections, would have been the likely next stop for that Gorgon that you stopped. You saw what it did to the Foundation personnel at the crash site. You can imagine what it would do to a populated area.
I can, yeah.
You're part of the reason that it didn't do that. You and your fellow pilots. Whether or not you believe it, or whether or not you feel like you've done a perfect job of it. You are still out there when so many others refuse or are incapable.
I think Artemis finally takes a breath and sits back in its chair.
Okay. Thanks, Mira.
She smiles at you and leans back in her own jump seat in the helicopter.
Yeah, see that? There you are. That's good. I want you to understand what it is that we're facing in a way that I think is difficult to fully grasp. I apologize. I'm being vague, but I think it's something that's easier to show you rather than tell you. We should be there soon enough, in a couple of hours. Now, I'm sorry to be such a poor conversationalist in this time, but I haven't been sleeping well. I feel like I'll pull an old soldier's trick and half sleep in the jump seat. If you don't mind, a little bit of silence.
Yeah, that's fine.
And I think at that she sort of crosses her arms and leans back in the jump seat and closes her eyes.
And I think Artemis just looks out at the town.
Yeah, you are traveling. The helicopter drops a little bit and it flies low in between the mountain that you were near yesterday is off to the right, and then it starts to veer up a little bit. You can see a couple of lakes, and you're not sure exactly where you're going. It's not a familiar area, and you don't really see anything around. But I think at this we're gonna fade out with Artemis sitting there in the window looking out of the helicopter. And mechanically, I'm going to do the first part of the mechanical aspect of the punishment.
Okay.
Which is that it deepens your bond with the one inflicting the punishment. So you now have a personal bond with the Colonel.
Okay.
As we fade in again, Cass.
Cass is in the library.
There's a library on the base. It is not particularly big. This is a service for everyone who lives on the base. It has a collection of books and movies and music, and it has some computers that allow you to access the internet. Everything there is heavily screened by the Foundation. It's heavily censored, and the internet is heavily restricted. But you do have access to the outside world to some extent. You can view the news. You can probably, to some extent, access whatever the social media of the 23rd century is.
If I may.
Of course.
I think Cass has been given a list of articles and books to look into by Dr. Saito. Now, what Cass may or may not realize this also is a list of things that have been okayed for Cass to look at that mention Blondie.
I think, yeah, Cass, you've got a list of sources. You've probably got a list of news websites, articles that you can access, some links to internet sites for you to look into. So yeah, you've been provided with this list. You have access to whatever public information you have in the library, and yeah, what's Cass gonna do right now?
Cass carefully looks at the list, gathers all the physical resources, the books, the magazines, and sits them at a desk with a laptop. And she types in each article slowly, methodically, and she takes her time just absorbing this information.
Yeah.
Since you're the person who's Dr. Saito's actress at this point, and like I like the suggestion that this has been like a curated list. I want to know, like, what is the picture that all of the information that Dr. Saito has painted? Like, what picture of Blondie does this paint? What information is there? If you want to defer to me on anything, feel free. But I'm curious. What's the doctor trying to present?
You're welcome to add any touches that you'd like, but I think that the picture painted for Cass is something like an expert pilot, the hope of humanity, piloting a frame the likes of which had never been seen before. Whether or not that's true is of no consequence. And with just the skill, dedication, and belief in the Foundation to back it up, she was absolutely unstoppable at accomplishing the mission in front of her. I think that included are some more detailed records of these higher visibility missions. Stuff that includes, like, specific frame maneuvers and tactics, the sort of stuff that you as a pilot can learn from.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the case. And I think that, like, when it comes to Blondie's supposed death, there's the information very abruptly gets significantly more vague, and there's a lot of, like, very euphemistic language. There's a lot of, like, an operation type language, and there's barely even a mention of the fact that it was a Gorgon that killed it, which is the official story, is that it was killed in action. But, like, the articles get extremely vague around this. There's a lot of information that they say they aren't authorized to share or weren't given. There's a lot of vagary in the supposed eyewitness accounts. It's like you stumble into not necessarily an information black hole, but like a dim spot where suddenly even what you've been given starts to feel inadequate.
I think facial expressions are still difficult for Cass.
Mm-hmm.
Despite whatever thoughts it might have in its mind as it consumes this information, to anyone from an outside perspective, Cass looks calm, impassive, like stone. The standard Cass look.
Mm-hmm.
The look Cass has mostly maintained since surviving the first of the surgeries. If you could peel that back and look into its brain, you can see a depth of concentration, confusion, frustration, because the way the doctor talked about Blondie was that Blondie was this amazing pilot. And there's a lot of information here, but there's still so many gaps. Cass had a connection to this person, to this pilot. And when Cass looks at the photo, it's like looking at a stranger. And I think Cass experiences the oddest sensation when looking at the photo, while its mind can't feel or really register happy or sad or angry like it once did. The body, there's a visceral reaction Cass feels the first moment it looks at a picture of Blondie.
I mean, you've been out fighting against a Gorgon since you had your identity ripped away and replaced by the Foundation. Cass is not an idiot. It's still capable of reasoning and figuring out that, like, this has to be, it must know that this isn't the full truth. It's fought the Gorgons. It knows that there's more to it than what's being said, right? What does it think about that?
Thoughts are still difficult for Cass. But even in this moment, 2 words float up. Not enough. And I think as Cass thinks that and is frustrated with this amount of information, it looks down at the teammates listed for Blondie's unit. And I think it stares for a long time at Eurydice's name. And while it doesn't know what to call the emotion it's feeling, there's a feeling of discomfort in its stomach that it's registering, like its guts are writhing.
Cass, I'm going to give you the betrayed tag.
I think that's appropriate.
Now, there was something else that you were talking about doing, right?
Is there anything in what Cass has read that would suggest a family?
I think that as you're reading through this information, probably somewhere in the information about Blondie's death, there's probably some mention of like parents. It's probably very oblique. It's a like, you know, grieving loved ones, that kind of thing. You know, very, very like maybe there's a picture of them being given like a, you know, United Federation flag or something like that. Something fairly passing, but I think there's probably a reference of it. At least its parents, possibly its sister.
Cass lingers on that, and it rereads that sentence, and it feels its heart beat faster, and it stirs something in its body. It doesn't know why. It gets a feeling that while it doesn't remember, its body remembers something about these people. Can Cass try and search their names?
I don't think that any of the articles, especially the articles that the doctor gave you, mention anyone by name. I think that it's Blondie and then it's like its parents. Like that would be the most that it would say. And like ostensibly, probably this is for privacy reasons, but also, you know, that's not the only reason. There's a certain degree of like depersonalization here. It's a balance between making the pilots seem relatable and not making them seem too human.
After staring at the mention of parents for a few long minutes, Blondie stands abruptly. It carefully puts away the research materials. It clears up the desktop where it worked. It carefully folds the piece of paper with the research materials and puts it in its pocket. It quietly but swiftly leaves the library, and it walks to the handler's office.
As you're doing this, I think we're going to cut back in time a few minutes. The camera cuts in, and we see the handler's office. And we see Eurydice in there, but the handler is not there. Eurydice, what are you doing right now?
I want to see if there's any like files that have been left around that have anything to do with my frame, any correspondence I can find, perhaps any codes or keys to any heavy-duty locks.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what are you doing? Where are you looking? There's some filing cabinets. There's a desk. The filing cabinets are locked, but I think if you were clever about it, you could probably get them open undetected. And if you were not so clever about it, you could probably just break the locks. Although certainly that would be discovered eventually.
Well, I'm going to start with the desk. I'm going to see if there's any like just, I don't know, correspondence regarding my frame. Anything where, you know, is someone writing down, oh, we're going to give Our oldest, most loyal member, the weirdest frame.
All right. The handler's desk is very neatly organized. There is not a trace of spare papers on the desk itself. I think if you were to look in the drawers, there's a little planner, it looks like. If you were to flip through that, you'd see some basic notes about duty assignments and all the minutiae of running this facility. Probably some notes from reports that the major has given the colonel at various points. It's all pretty boring. There's some mention of the three of you, but it's mostly in the context of both duty assignments, training results, and then the information about Artemis being transferred in. Some of the mission notes in very, very brief form, but nothing that looks particularly confidential.
Okay. Do I have metal on me?
You probably have some kind of a knife, a combat knife or a folding knife of some kind, and I'm sure if you were to poke around, you could find, like, paper clips and shit in the handler's office. That's not something that she keeps locked up.
I want to say I've got a Swiss Army knife, got some thinner tools on there, and, between that and a paper clip, I want to try and, jimmy this lock open.
Pick the locks on that drawer there.
Yeah.
You know what? This is a little weird. I don't want to just give this to you, but I think what you're doing right now is kind of disobey orders adjacent. So I think I'm gonna say if you want to do this, you got to make a play.
Okay, yeah.
If that's what you want to do.
Let's disobey some orders that were never actually given to me.
All right. Spend heat and roll.
Why don't I spend, what do I have?
You have 2 heat.
I got 2 heat. Let me spend those 2 heat.
Sounds good to me.
Well, I rolled a 7, so that's a 9.
Excellent. You can disobey and pick one. If your handler finds out, they'll punish you. You know what? You can give yourself a tag and gain 1 to 2 heat, reject a tag, or tell someone to follow you. I'm also going to say you successfully picked this lock, too.
You know what? I am going to reject the tag watched.
All right. That is no longer a tag of yours. And you can gain some heat if you want.
Okay, yeah. Let me gain 2 heat.
Yeah, you got it. Rejecting a tag, by the way, means it's gone.
Okay.
It just gets erased. All right, so you open up this cabinet, and it's a pretty standard filing cabinet. It's arranged it's probably by subject and then alphabetically. You can see some information. There's a section on pilot records, and then there's a section labeled for the frames.
Yeah, I'm looking at that frame stuff.
Okay. So what you're seeing here is like a very basic overview of the frame's capabilities. They have the information on like what weapons they have and what their model number is and all of that kind of stuff. It's not like super surprising to you. And there's some addenda to the frame. So the Lucerne has some information about the responsibilities of the frame as far as like a propaganda piece. It has some notes on like how it should be presented in the media and how it should be talked about and all of that. And then your frame has a secondary page attached to it, like an addenda. And as you turn the paper and you start to read that, you see in bright red near the top the phrase, "This information is not for girls," and you start to feel your awareness getting fuzzy.
Can I roll to fight this?
If you want to make a play to disobey orders, you do it now. You gonna spend heat?
Yep. Yeah, I'm gonna spend that 2 heat. And I rolled a 7, so that's perfect.
So you get a 9.
Yeah.
All right, you get the same choices. So you fight through this, and you can feel your awareness sharpening again, and the feeling of dissociation drops away. So yeah, you pick one, and you may continue reading this.
Yeah.
And give yourself a tag.
inconspicuous.
I love that. And yeah, you can take a couple of heat.
Yeah, let me take that heat back.
Yeah, so you pick up this page and it has a little bit of additional information. They're not going to just give everything away, but there's a header at the top that's labeled Project Lightbearer. And there's a bunch of technical information about like a power core that you don't really have the technical knowledge to make any sense of it. But you do see under like power, there's a listing that says like core source. And you see the letters GD2207-16-12. And then in parentheses next to it, you see the phrase Radiant Congregation. And that's it. That's the only thing in there that's really like stands out to you. The rest is all like technical jargon about output capacity and a restraint system. There's no mention of how to disable whatever restraints are there. There's no codes. There's no password just sitting here in this document conveniently, but something is going on, and you recognize that designation, right? You've been a pilot for a long time. You know what that kind of designation means, at least. That's a Gorgon designation. You're not familiar with that specific one, but you know what that looks like.
So there's a fucking Gorgon in my frame. What the fuck?
And I think it's about this moment when Cass, you were going to the handler's office, right?
I was.
I think you've arrived at the handler's office and you notice that the door is open and it's kind of swung in a little bit. And you can see Eurydice in there.
Cass's expression doesn't change, but it does stop in the hallway for a moment. And after that pause, it approaches the office more swiftly than before. It hangs in the doorway, holding the knob, and speaks. Eurydice?
Eurydice jumps up in the air and slams the door shut.
The filing cabinet?
Yeah.
Okay. Cass, before you continue, could you give me a bad at being a person roll, please?
Totally.
Spend heat if you got it, and
I do have heat. I'll spend a heat.
1 heat? All right.
Gotcha. Okay, it's a 6 plus 1 heat. That's a 7.
Cass, tell me how you're feeling right now. Seeing Eurydice, what goes through your mind? First thing that goes through your mind.
I think the first thing it thinks is that Eurydice shouldn't be doing this.
I'm going to mark your compliant tag, and you take -1 to that roll. So you rolled a 6.
Oof.
So you rolled less than a 7 or less. So you pick up to 2 of the things. They can give you a tag based on the ones you can't do. And you can't leave the conversation until they say you're allowed to. So pick 2 of the list.
I will do human words and deception.
Eurydice, you can give Cass a tag throughout this conversation based on the ones that it can't do.
Uh-huh.
You don't have to, but you can. Just putting it there as an option. Please, continue.
Well, Eurydice jumped up in the air and slammed the door as Cass came in. When she saw it was Cass, she relaxes a little. Not enough to be comfortable, but enough that, you can tell she's relieved it's not the handler. Ugh, okay, it's just the empty shell of a person, not the one who could kill me over this.
Doing what?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Cass nods.
Why do you think I should tell you? Why do you think I can trust you?
Cass looks at the floor, then looks at the ceiling, then looks at the floor and ceiling again in quick motion, and then somehow is able to make its head face yours to make eye contact. And you can't tell if the smile on its face is real or a part of of whatever is going on with it that makes it not work well. And it says, Blondie?
You think I should trust you because you're Blondie. You are not Blondie anymore. You're wearing her face, but whatever the fuck you are not her anymore.
Not. Why?
I do not know what they did to you. I do not know what they did to rip that creature out of you. But you are, and this is me giving her a tag, you are a machine. Give it the tag mechanical.
Cass looks you over, cold, calculating, the unnatural smile still frozen on its face. Sure? You? Cass closes the door and takes a step closer to you. Monster? How?
How are you a monster? Tell that to fucking Colonel Williams. Tell that to Pinup. Tell that to Glass. Tell that to everyone who is not here anymore because of you.
Blondie? Or me? Fault? Yet Blondie not.
I don't even know what you're talking about anymore. Whatever killed a bunch of people had your face. You have your face. Blondie had your face. As Cass gets closer, Eurydice starts itching her neck.
How? Help Blondie you.
I was told that if we subdued you, got you sedated, got you on the table, sent you in for surgery, Blondie would come back. I saved your life thinking I was saving Blondie's, but I feel like that didn't really work out.
Killed Blondie?
I don't know who killed Blondie. I don't know if it was the monster that took her over, or the monsters in that operating room.
Blondie killed?
Oh. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. In that filing cabinet, you said there was stuff about the cadre, right?
Yeah, you found, like, their personnel files.
Was there stuff about the old members of the cadre?
Yes, there was.
I'm going to open up that filing cabinet. I'm going to grab a couple files of our old cadre.
Okay.
I slap down a file. Irish. Killed in action. By someone wearing your face. Slap down another one. Pinup. Killed in action. Same date, same fight. Slap down another file. Peregrine. I didn't watch her be killed, but I was told killed in action. Slap down another one. Glass. Killed in action. Same date, same time, same fight, same killer. And yeah, then I slapped down Blondie's old file. If you look here, there's the proof. The killer, right here, ripped out the throat of its old handler. I watched it happen with my own fucking eyes.
Cass has walked up to the table by now and has watched you slam each file onto the desk. And I think with each one, Cass's body involuntarily has started to shake. And with each file, it has grown to shake more and more. Where by now, when you've put Blondie's file down, it's visible even to you to notice. But it still has that damn smile on its face.
As you get closer, Eurydice has backed up, giving you space, and is continuing to periodically itch her port.
Despite Cass's shaking, it gently touches the files. It looks up at you. No, didn't.
And who told you that? The doctor that sucked out your soul?
Told anything.
You want to know what happened? Fucking read it for yourself. And I pick up Blondie's file and throw it at it.
You can hear footsteps out in the hallway.
Shit. I'm gonna basically gather up all the things, shove them back in, close the,
I need you to make a play to keep your head.
Yes. I'm spending my 2 heat. I'm spending both those heat.
All right.
Thank God I did, because I got a 6, so that's now an 8.
All right. Choose 2 you are and 1 you definitely aren't.
I'm desperate enough.
Okay.
I'm tough enough.
Got it.
I'm not in control of myself.
Okay. So I'm going to say you've got enough time to put these files away, but I want you to describe what this looks like, and you're under a lot of time pressure here.
Yeah, I am scooping them all up, cramming them in. They are not in order. They are not pretty. I'm shutting the door. I shut the cabinet. It is not locked. I am essentially going to dive into the closest hiding spot I can. That's probably under the desk. I'm going to dive under the desk.
As you do this, Cass, what are you going to do?
Cass wasn't given permission to leave the conversation. Cass can't leave.
You're just standing there.
Cass is just standing there, shaking.
You as you're standing there, you hear the noise of the door opening, and you see Major Attali standing there, just staring at you. What in the hell are you doing in here, pilot? And then she looks down, and I'm sorry, Eurydice, but that's not a desk you can really hide under. Get out from there.
I'm going to get up.
What? She's looking back and forth between the two of you. Pilots, explain yourselves right now. What are you doing in here?
Cass steps forward, still visibly shaking. Her head clocks around the room until she ends up looking at her shoes and goes, Help needed.
She looks at you, and then she looks at Eurydice, and Eurydice, you see a look of utter disgust on her face, and she's walking up towards you.
Eurydice puts her hands up and says, Okay, you caught us. We were looking.
Before you can say that word, she slaps you across the face. Hard enough that you see stars in your vision. In the handler's fucking office, of all the places, she reaches down and she grabs you by the throat and hauls you up. Pilot Baker, I know we haven't known each other that many years, so I don't believe I've had a chance to have this little conversation with you. Maybe some part of me thought that you had enough sense that I wouldn't have to have this conversation with you. She looks over at Cass and then back at you. Pilot, we don't fuck dogs here. Do you understand my meaning, pilot?
Eurydice nods.
She looks livid. And the handlers, I bet you thought you were so fucking smart. You found a place where there's no cameras when the handler's off base. You're so fucking clever. Well, you know what? You're so clever, both of you. I was coming to ask the handler for permission anyway. You two, report to surgery. You're getting a little checkup. She squeezes your throat and kind of pushes you along. If I ever catch you in here again, for any reason, or I ever find out you're... She kind of glances at Cass and the look of disgust on her face again. I will take your dog fucking ass outback myself and I will put you down. Do you understand me?
Eurydice once again nods. I have a feeling that being choked is gonna make speaking difficult.
Yeah. The major is not being gentle about this. Now go report to medical. And I'm going to pretend I didn't see you in here.
Copy.
I want you to take the dog fucker tag.
Okay. So we're going to both make our way towards medical. Once Major Attali is out of earshot, Eurydice just bursts out laughing. Oh, she got me bad in the throat there. Oh my fucking god. Oh, I can't believe. Oh, we got away with it. I can't believe she thought you. Incredible, incredible. You know what? That whole robot poker face thing you got going on, that's some good shit there. That's helpful. That's useful. Maybe going to medical is a good idea. She's got some good grip strength.
Cass has stopped shaking by now. The smile is no longer on its face. It can't meet your eyes, but it looks somewhere in your direction. Laugh like thing nicest said. Enemy not me.
Guess not. I think we got worse problems to deal with.
Cass does something odd for a moment. Her arm sticks out and her fingers brush your shoulder.
Eurydice does jump a little bit at that, tenses up a bit, but she doesn't pull her shoulder away.
Someone make the flirt play.
I think Cass should do this one.
Oh, I fully agree. Oh man, how do I do the flirt play again?
You declare your intention to flirt, you spend heat, you roll, and you get your results.
You know what? Sure, I declare my intention to flirt. And I have one heat left, so
Are you gonna spend it?
Sure, why not?
You got it. Fucking do it.
8 + 1, 9.
All right, so on an 8 to 10, it's easy. Each of you can unmark 2 of your identities. So that means you can unmark malfunctioning programs, or Eurydice, you've got 3 marks.
Well, then if I am unmarking 2 identities, then I'm going to unmark dangerous
Okay.
and independent.
Okay.
I'm gonna unmark malfunctioning in program.
All right. And now, Cass, you get to ask 1 question from that list. You ask the question, and then if you follow through on giving her what she wants, deepen your bond. So feel free to ask a question. And I'm willing to bend your bad at being a person a little.
Okay.
I think I'm going to let you push through that, and you can talk normally, at least for the purposes of asking this question.
Can I mess with the phrasing a little bit?
Absolutely.
So, Cass's fingers brush your shoulder, and her arm lingers in the air for a moment. And she stays like that. And then she lets her arm drape by her side. She can't meet your eyes, but for once you can't tell if it's purposeful or because it's having a moment. How could I alleviate your hate of me?
Eurydice was not expecting that. The tension leaves a little bit. Show me the Blondie. The real Blondie is still in there.
Cass looks up, and she meets your eyes. What if they don't let me?
They didn't let us sneak into the handler's office.
Cass's fingers trace over her chest. When I'm near you, my body reacts. My heart faster. My stomach becomes a pit. There are parts of this body that remember you.
But not your brain?
Cass's hand creeps up to her head and taps at it. Words still hard. Thoughts are like clouds, hard to hold on to.
I think Eurydice is gonna start making a connection here. Because she just spoke to someone else who had a hard time making words. Are you in pain?
Cass's eyes close. Its breathing quickens for a moment. I don't know. I don't feel the pain. The body recognizes when it feels pain. Cass takes a fistful of her hair and tugs it, and its expression doesn't change. I recognized that hurt, but didn't feel it.
God damn it, what did they do to you? I think this is the first time Eurydice is realizing just how, she knew what happened to Cass was fucked up. She was promised that if they saved Blondie, they would bring Blondie back to life. And clearly that didn't happen, but I think this is the first time Eurydice is realizing just what they did to Cass.
Cass looks at you, hand still in her hair. I don't know. Until talking to you today, I didn't even know what happened.
Well, now you know. You can't bring back everyone you got rid of. But maybe you can bring yourself back.
Cass is quiet for a moment. Blondie had family.
Yeah. We all do. Did.
Alive still?
Eurydice shrugs, says, last I heard, I thought so. Then again, a lot can change in a month.
Cass's head shoots all over the place for a moment before landing back at you. How can I get a photo?
Well, don't know the new handler that well, but she seems nice, reasonable, not a fucking monster like Attali is, so I don't know, you can just try and ask, I guess. You did do really well on the last mission. You did kill the Gorgon.
Cass nods. Thanks again. You did good too.
Well, anything I can do to keep more people from disintegrating, I guess. It is our job, after all.
When Colonel comes back, I'll ask about photo.
Maybe wait till Attali's nowhere in earshot. I don't trust her to give you shit after that.
Cass nods again. Should we go to medical bay now?
Yeah, why not? My neck's been fucking killing me the last couple days. I probably should have gone anyway.
I think the scene fades out as the two of you are walking down the hallway. Real quick question, Eurydice.
Yeah.
Did anything in that conversation fulfill what Cass asked you about? Basically, did you see enough of a glimmer of Blondie in it to meet the criteria for the flirting move?
I think so. I think not just the body feeling memories thing, but also just coming to the realization that whatever happens in that operating room turned its emotions off and turned its sensation off. So, Blondie couldn't just come back.
Right. Well, in that case, you deepen your bond, so you both now have an intense bond with each other.
Ooh.
Okay.
Oh, hi. Didn't see you there. Baragon Doubletail, God of Time, Heroes, Interplanar Champion, you know the rest. You're just in time to hear about what's been happening in the new campaign of Bard Rock Cafe. 1,000 years after the end of Campaign 1, a new queen is being crowned in the capital city of Clearwater. When a group of assassins crash the coronation, a crew of unlikely heroes save her life and are tasked with investigating what happened. Can a low-ranking palace guard, the royal playwright, a nervous cleric, and the hillbilly groundskeeper find out who these mysterious dream police are and stop them? Find out in the second campaign of Bard Rock Cafe.
Bard Rock Cafe Campaign 2 is available wherever you find your favorite podcasts.
Greetings and salutations, dear friends. Are you looking for a dystopian actual play? Maybe something with a little steampunk pizzazz? Listen to Blades in Paradise. Society collapsed, but our corporate overlords rebuilt it. In this Blades in the Dark actual play, you'll join the Express Service Parcel Network, or ESPN, as they seek to find out if paradise is really heaven on earth, or if there's something darker underneath the surface. Available now wherever you find your favorite podcasts.
So we fade in as Artemis and Colonel Voss are stepping off of the helicopter. It wasn't clear where it was landing at first. You couldn't really see anything notable. And then eventually the helicopter set down near a lake. And you recognize the lake as one of these. There are all these lakes that were created during the Awakening, the event that caused the Gorgons to kill most of the Earth's population. And so there's this big, almost like a crater lake, it looks like. And then on the side of it, there's this facility that's kind of tucked into the ground. There's a helipad, and then you don't really see anything until you're getting close to the door. And as you're walking up, you see there's armed guards standing outside. They look like not UFAS regular military personnel, but like Foundation personnel. And there's stenciled letters and slightly faded text on the side that read R-56. As you're walking up, the handler leans over to you. By the way, Artemis, while we're alone for a minute, I wanted to say they retrieved the footage of your interview with Captain Banks, and she smiles at you. Just easy thing to cut around, but make sure to mind your P's and Q's about how you refer to former pilots.
Right, yeah. Still getting used to that.
I know. Honestly, I always found it a bit silly. The idea that, well, you're weapons of the war against the Gorgons, so we take your pronouns and put them on hold and talk about you as if you're equipment, but you know. The Foundation puts a great deal of stock in these things. Just something to keep in mind for the future.
Yeah. Artemis is clearly on edge again.
As you're walking up, you see the guards salute, and the colonel returns it crisply and nods at them, and they just let her by. She is the ranking military officer in this area, so presumably this being a Foundation facility, she's kind of in charge of it. As you're walking in, you see the Foundation logo on the side of the painted on the wall, and there's another block of text that reads Research Facility R-56. You come in through this set of heavy double doors. There's again personnel there, and as you're walking down, you come to a security checkpoint, and there's a guard there that nods at the two of you, and he reaches out a hand.
All right. Any weapons? You have to leave them here.
And the handler takes out her pistol and hands it over. Thanks, Mom. And you, pilot?
Nothing here.
Oh, don't worry. It doesn't have any weapons issued. Just thank you. Thank you, Sergeant. And the two of you walk through.
I think as we're going through the security checkpoint, Artemis will finally cave and say, so, Mira, what are we here for?
Right. So, what have you been told in your training about the Gorgons? What do you know about the enemy that we fight?
That they're a seemingly supernatural force that crops up occasionally that we're still studying, that we need the vital frames to be able to combat.
Right, of course. And they came here on the Awakening. As far as we can tell, they were buried underground for millions of years, billions of years. No one's really sure what they are, or where they come from, or what they want. Just that they seem to be unceasingly hostile towards humanity, and we must defeat them. As she's saying this, and as you're walking, you finally come to a large set of blast doors. Like, these are thick, like, bunker doors. And you can see on the side, there's a couple of indicators. There's text that has, like, a red triangle, and then there's red text next to it that reads, "Caution, void hazard." And then underneath it, you see stenciled letters that read GD 2229-117. And the handler walks up to the side of this door, and she produces a key card and touches it to a key reader, and you can hear the mechanism in the door starting to open, and it sort of grinds open very slowly, revealing a fairly dark passage beyond, and what looks like some kind of an elevator. So, you've been told all these things, but you've never... They just expect you to fight without asking questions.
That's all I really came here to do.
Right. Why did you come here? Why did you decide to become a pilot? I know it's not an easy thing to do. As she's saying this, you've walked to the elevator, and she's starting to, like, work the mechanism. You can see it just goes down into darkness. You can't see the bottom of it.
My family, they all died in a Gorgon attack. I was the only one left afterwards. And my sister, Electra, she was a part of the UFAS, and they showed up to try and help get people out. And she died getting me out, so I had nothing left after that.
As the elevator grinds its way down, the handler walks up to you, and she puts a hand on your shoulder. Not the shoulder that's closer to her, but puts it around your shoulders and sort of pats your shoulder and nods sympathetically. I can understand that. We've all lost people in one way or another. It's an unfortunate reality of the world we live in. You decided to do something about it. She smiles at you.
Electra meant a lot to me. I had to get back at things that took her.
Of course. I understand that feeling, that the way that the hatred can boil up inside of you, and you just want to do something about it. You just want to reach out and tear something apart, destroy something beautiful. It's a completely natural response. It's a pity, really, that it's all based in lies. She leans over and she whispers in your ear, "This information is not for girls." And you can start to feel yourself slipping away. So you have the opportunity to make a play to avoid this?
Yeah, I'd like to disobey orders, I think.
Okay. Roll for it.
Artemis has felt this before and is slightly more prepared for it. I think I forgot to look to see if I had heat to spend.
You don't.
I don't. Well, that's okay anyway, because that is a 10.
I'm marking the impressionable tag. You just rolled a 12. So you can disobey, but you have only if you act now and without thinking.
I think that the Artemis's vision clouds in sort of the same way that it did previously for a moment, and then it blinks and its face scrunches up, and it is very obviously trying to fight it. And then it opens its eyes and it looks around, and I mean, Mira's looking at it. It is clearly not obeying the conditioning, but it has not said anything yet. It's trying to, like, reacclimate, get its bearings, almost like it forgot where it was for a moment.
By the way, you take 2 heat for that.
Cool.
You see Colonel Voss looking at you, and she narrows her eyes, and you can see the recognition of what just happened. She takes a little bit of a step back, and she nods, and she smiles at you. And then she stands next to you, and just stands there in silence, as if nothing had happened. And eventually, the elevator reaches the bottom, and you see there's another set of these heavy doors in front of you. It's dark down here. And the handler walks over with that card again, and she taps it to a card reader, and once again these doors start to open, and she walks back over to you. You know, you're made of sterner stuff than I thought, but that's not a bad thing at all. Think of it as a little test. But you'll see.
A test for what?
Oh, my dear, I haven't lied to you. It's all lies on top of lies here. I'm sorry. I feel bad in a way for telling you like this, but I think it's important that you see. And as she says this, I think it's important that we establish how this is being framed from like a show point of view, for reasons that will become clearer very soon. But I think we see things framing the handler as the main character. We see a shot where it's mostly her in frame, and as the door opens, you see a room that's almost completely pitch black except for a spotlight in the center. And in the center of this room, we see right now, in this camera lens, a absolutely gorgeous woman with long, flowing blonde hair, standing there completely naked, chained to the floor by her feet. So the camera switches focus, and now we see Artemis framed as the main subject, and standing in the middle of this room, chained to the floor, is a woman who looks strikingly similar to Artemis. Her facial features are very similar, but her hair is a little different. There's still the dye, but it looks like the brown roots are showing. And she's not completely naked. She's wearing the same jacket that Artemis wears, worn open, but covering up her breasts and her shoulders. And Artemis, she is standing there staring right at you. And the handler's kind of like not quite marching you forward, but like guiding you firmly along.
Artemis gasps in and looks up at it for a moment before blushing and averting her gaze. What is that?
The handler smiles at you. What do you see when you look at her?
It's Electra.
Your sister? Oh, you're not what I expected at all. I wouldn't know. I can't see what you see. I see something completely different. As the two of you are coming closer, the handler finally stops a fair distance back, and she has you by the upper arm, and she's holding on with a grip that's stronger than you would have thought.
What is it to you, then?
Someone that I loved very much. Loved in a way that hurt. She takes a deep breath and she lets go of your arm and steps behind you, and she switches hands so that she's grabbing your left arm with her left hand, and she snakes a hand up around your neck and kind of rests it on your throat. Everything that's down here is everything they lie about. Everything that they don't tell us. Even me. And now you've told me a secret, Artemis.
Artemis's gaze flicks to Electra and then meets Mira's eye. I don't understand.
Oh, no, it's fine, my dear girl. You're fine. She squeezes your throat, and her other hand, she lets go of your arm and starts to grab your chest. You don't need to understand. I wanted you to see. The understanding can come later.
What comes now, then?
Artemis, tell me something. You know the Major, her rough way. Tell me something. She squeezes your throat. Do you feel my hand? It's soft. It's the hand of a woman that hasn't fired a rifle since qualification.
I think Artemis's hand, one of them, goes up to grasp at the colonel's wrist. What?
It doesn't matter. Soft hand chokes just as readily as a rough one, and she squeezes your throat a little tighter, and her other hand starts to make its way down towards the buckle of your pants.
What are you?
It's you know, I'd so hoped that the phrase would have worked, but I had my suspicions that this thing here would have made it difficult anyway. I think the camera at this moment cuts out, and there's a shot from behind this thing standing here. And once again, it's this blonde-haired woman that's completely naked, and you can see the handler and Artemis in this wide shot across, and the handler is just staring at it. And it's staring back at her. But it doesn't matter. None of it matters. You. At this, she's unbuckled your pants, and she's starting to move her hand down towards your crotch.
No, don't.
Oh, I've heard that before. You asked who she was to me, and I told you well, you're clever. You can read between the lines, as it were. Her hand is now between your legs, and she curls her fingers inward.
Why show me this? Why go to all this trouble?
She curls her fingers in a little more in your crotch. Because none of it matters. Because this down here, she's our future. Everyone like her. You see it. It's not a monster, not some ravaging beast, just a beauty, just beauty.
I'm going to keep my head.
Mm-hmm.
I am trying to survive being raped. I get to spend heat and roll, and the specific action that I am going to take and lock in before I make this roll is that I'm gonna punch her.
All right, you're spending heat?
Yep, I'm spending both of my heat. Oh no, that's a 12.
You are desperate, tough, vicious, and sexy, but you're definitely not in control. You'll have to take a tag to get through this.
I think that the miscalculation that Mira makes in this moment is that that's not Artemis's dominant hand.
Excellent.
And Artemis's other hand comes up for a desperate and, I think, devastating hook straight to Mira's jaw. I'm willing to do an all-out assault if you would like me to as well.
You know what? Yes.
Cool.
Spend heat and roll, baby.
All right.
And pit one of your assets against...
Yeah, I'll pit the jacket because I think it's the one that's most at risk of getting damaged here.
I think you're right.
And I won't spend any heat on this one.
Okay, go for it.
Well, that's a 4. So on a 7, they can definitely defend themselves, but you can pick one from each list anyways. So I'll say I have to mark an identity. I think that is starry-eyed for sure.
Yep.
And I will choose to get in a better position.
Okay. All right, give me a second here. So you're going to take damage to that asset.
Yes.
And the handler's going to make a play in response. what exactly are you doing to get out of this situation?
The way I'm thinking about this is Mira gets hit and stumbles back, not expecting that, and either lets go of Artemis's neck, or Artemis, by squeezing the wrist, can get Mira to let go. And I just want Artemis to get, like, positioned away from the wall.
I think as you do this, you go to hit the handler, and she moves in quicker than you thought she could. And I think as you're doing this, she grabs the jacket and kind of hauls you back. And as she's doing this, mechanically, the handler is gonna make a play to mess with your assets.
Okay.
She reaches out and hooks her hands around your neck and digs into the link port. What does that feel like?
I think that it feels like... Have you ever gotten really lightheaded to the point where, like, your vision starts to fade and everything is buzzy? I think it feels a lot like that, with an added component of just, like, the body getting tingly as well, like your limbs have gone to sleep. I don't think it impairs your mobility necessarily, but it sure feels like it should.
So that damages your experimental link port.
Cool.
You are now mechanically helpless because all your girl assets are damaged.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. But you did get the benefit of being put in a better position. So I think as your vision kind of like it fades in and out, you feel lightheaded, and then it comes back, and you're now on the ground. And good news, the handlers doesn't have her hand down your pants anymore. Bad news is that she's straddling you and choking you. And she just like lifts your head up and slams it into the ground. And slams it into the ground again. And then she lets go and sort of slumps back on you and lifts her head up in the air, and she's just grinning. It has been such a long time since I felt that good. You... You're more suited for this than you could have ever imagined. She kind of like relaxes, and she's still on top of you, and you're just kind of half conscious there, slumped on the ground. I'm going to argue that for the handler, at least, this constitutes making her sex play.
Yeah, and both of our sex plays trigger.
All right, so the mistress is a no-roll sex play. It's just when you have sex with a girl, ask it for a favor. If it accepts, it is promoted to the ace. If it fails to complete the favor, it is demoted to the dog.
I also don't have to roll. When you have sex with someone, ask them what they teach you. You gain experience, and if they want, they can give you a tag.
As you're laying there, I think the colonel lays down on top of you, just putting her full body weight on yours, and she has her face next to yours. I need you to do something for me, because you've got fight in you. I need you to keep being stronger. Keep fighting, keep pushing back.
Is that what this is supposed to be about?
She laughs in your ear. You can feel her breath on you. My dear girl, this is about whatever I want it to be. Just whatever you do, you just keep our little secret here.
Which part? You? This?
All of it. They lie. Everybody lies. The Foundation more than anyone else. Never forget that. As she says that, she pushes herself back up to straddle you again, and she pulls her leather jacket forward and smiles at you. And I think that's where the scene fades out to black, with the camera pulling back to show a wide shot of the handler still straddling a half-conscious Artemis, and I think we see the version of this thing that Artemis saw as we pull back. And the camera cuts to black. We cut back and we fade in on a medical facility. I think, Cass, you and Eurydice are lying on like a medical... You're in a medical bay, you're lying on these like beds, and you've been kind of lightly sedated, but you're still pretty much aware of what's happening. And there's a doctor there. She's kind of poking around at you. All right, y'all. Just got to check everything to make sure. Major was insistent that we give y'all a full rundown after that thing y'all fought the other day. It's honestly, I don't see the point in it. Y'all look fine. Cass, you're in fine shape, and Eurydice, you look... She stops as she is investigating your link, and she looks at you. Have y'all been feeling any kind of discomfort related to your link at all, by any chance?
I guess it's been kind of itchy lately.
Right, yeah.
I don't know, I thought I just got a weird rash.
No, it's nothing to worry about, really. It's just... hold on one second. She walks over to a cabinet, and she comes back with a syringe. I'm sorry to do this, but we gotta take a quick look at that. You'll be out for 20 or so minutes, and then we'll get you right again. And she injects it into you, and there's a moment of clarity before whatever this is starts to hit you, and then you feel your awareness kind of falling away, and the camera, I think, cuts hard to black, and then it cuts in again, and you're laying on this bed, and you feel a pain in the side of your neck, but it doesn't feel like the way that your link was itching before. It feels fresher. And you see the doctor looking down at you. There, see, that was easy as pie. Just quick in and out. I'm sorry to say there was something wrong with your link, so we had to switch it out. Good news for you is now you've got the latest hardware. So hopefully it won't give you any more trouble.
What was... Ow, why does it hurt so...
Oh, we had to swap your link out. It's just...
What was wrong with it?
Oh...
They haven't updated my link in years.
She looks to the side, and you see a look of nervousness on her face, and then it's gone almost immediately. I don't know, some kind of corrosion or something inside of it. Something's starting to go bad, you know. These old models, they had all kinds of antiquated circuitry and batteries and whatnot. It's... Look, I don't know your feelings on having lithium leaking out into your neck, but personally, I would be opposed to it, so... She shrugs. Hey, you'll be fine to go in a second.
Ugh, okay.
I think as you're sitting up, Cass, you're still in the room. I think you've you didn't get sedated or knocked unconscious. They told you everything looked good, and they gave you a little shot in the arm. You know, told you they're giving you some sort of a booster shot, and then they just left you to wait for Eurydice to wake up. Eurydice, I think as you're waking up, you also feel like you got the same shot in the arm. You can feel a little soreness on your right arm, and yeah, you're definitely sore in the neck. Your asset is no longer a last gen link. You've now got a next gen link, and it's no longer voided.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to say anything to Cass real quick before the two of you head out.
Yeah, I think she's just gonna get up, hand on her neck. Ugh, God. Better not have any missions in the next couple days. Come on, let's go.
Cass nods and follows you.
And I think that's where the camera fades out. And I think as the camera is fading out, we see the doctor tossing a one-use injection device into the trash. And it looks larger than a standard syringe. And that's all we see. And then the camera fades to black. I think we fade in on a shot of Artemis standing there looking up at the Lucerne from the gantry. So it's in a position where it could go inside the frame if it so chooses.
You're supposed to be something. Artemis, as it's speaking, begins to move along the gantry towards the loading section. And Eurydice said, "You're supposed to be alive." And Artemis hops into the cockpit. "Well, all right then, big shot hero." And Artemis flicks on some things. "Let's see what you've got for me." And I would like to dive deep. I'll spend all 3 of my heat.
Fuck yeah.
That is a good thing that I did that. 4, a 2, and a 3 is fucking 9.
Okay. You may speak with her freely at the end of your conversation. Choose one. I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked Eurydice. What are you doing exactly to tune yourself into the frame, to dive deep into your link?
I think Artemis plugs itself into the frame and powers it on and just sort of does the equivalent of letting the engine sit on idle. It's not moving the frame around necessarily, but the lights are on. And Artemis will sit back in the seat of the frame and take a few deep breaths and relax. And as some of the feelings from before when Mira put her finger in its link port start to come back, and it fades away into something.
I think as you're doing this, the scene around you just goes completely black. It's like suddenly you can't see anything. And then I think very quickly there's a series of like flashes of light as it's almost like a rapid gradient of various colors, and suddenly you're sitting there in just sort of this white void. You can't see the cockpit around you anymore. And you hear someone behind you, and you feel a hand on your shoulder, and then you turn and you see Electra, your sister, floating there in this void. She's wearing that jacket, and she's wearing what looks like military fatigues underneath, and she smiles at you.
What is this?
You really did it this time, huh?
What do you mean?
You're a pilot for the Foundation. That takes some... She looks down at your hips, and then she shakes her head. Or maybe not, I guess. She kind of like floats around to sort of sit in front of you. Like she's floating in the air, but she's got her legs crossed and she's smiling at you.
Electra, I need some help.
Yeah, Apollo, what do you need, man?
I don't know what to do. There's something going on here that Mira told me about, and I think I need to do something about it, and I can't have her do that to me again. But I don't understand. I came here and I tried my best to be a good pilot, and it didn't get me anywhere.
You see her face, like she kind of scowls for a second, like she isn't sure what you're talking about at first, but then very rapidly you see understanding dawn on her face. Oh God, that's... What the fuck is that? Are you... God. I don't want to be like, are you okay? But, dude, you okay?
No, I'm not fucking okay. I haven't been okay since I got here. And, I knew that was gonna be part of the gig, right? I never thought this was gonna be easy.
They tell you that you're gonna be a fucking hero, man, and then...
Yeah. I don't know. What would you do?
She looks off to the side. You know what I am, right? I'm not actually her.
Fine, I know. Yeah, yes, I know. But, okay then. You! Hi, hello, what are you? Who are you? I don't know. But you're supposed to be You're supposed to be the hero. And I'm supposed to be the thing that makes you tick. So what am I supposed to do here?
Look, man, She looks over to the side, and I think you can tell that she's looking in the direction of where Eurydice's frame is. Look, man, I'm not like her. I can't be like her, but sometimes all you gotta do is just fucking survive. And look for an opportunity to do something more. I can help you survive, okay? I can't tell you what to do because I don't know. They fuck with my head too, okay?
Okay.
But I can help you survive.
All right. What do I need to do next for that then? Give me something, anything.
She crosses her arms and she closes her eyes. She looks like she's thinking for a second. You gotta find someone you can trust. You gotta tell them what's going on. Make sure she doesn't find out. You can't do this by yourself. You could survive on your own, but fighting back, doing something more, whatever you want to do, you're gonna need help.
I think I can do that. I think I have a couple ideas of where to start at least.
It's better than nothing.
I guess I can't react like that again, huh?
She kind of like screws up her mouth and sort of shrugs. Maybe next time you'll fucking kill her.
Artemis pauses and thinks on that for a long moment. And then something seems to occur to it. Or maybe give her enough rope to hang herself.
She smiles at you. Yeah, She closes her eyes and thinks for a second. She always said you were smart, Apollo. right?
Yeah.
She smiles and reaches out and kind of like sort of pats your cheek. Then be fucking smart, man.
I think Apollo finally meets her eyes and puts his hand on hers. Okay, I'll do my best.
I know you will. And as she says that, the cockpit snaps back to the way it was when you first loaded into the frame, where you're in like the diagnostic mode. You're in a cockpit again. You're no longer in this white void. And I'd like you to pick one from the list.
I would like to erase the starry-eyed identity and become smart.
Go for it.
I think as Artemis's eyes open in its frame, it presses a hand to its cheek and lets it linger there for a second. And then it says, okay, time to be smart. And then I think it gets out of the frame and starts making its way elsewhere in the facility. I'll decide where exactly by next time.
As Artemis is making its way out of the frame bay, we have a long shot of the camera just slowly zooming out, showing the lucerne in center frame, and then finally pulling back to see the other two frames next to it. And the camera slowly fades to black.
Thank you for listening to Zero Angels. In this episode, Artemis was played by Cass was played by Chrissy Sylvia. Eurydice was played by Anna Marcus. Colonel Voss and Major Attali were played by Jonaya Riley. The music for this episode was composed by Anna Marcus. This episode was edited by Jonaya Riley and produced by Bad Rep Productions. You can support us on Patreon at patreon.com/badrep and join our online community at discord.badrep.productions. Zero Angels is part of the Bard Rock Network. You can check out the rest of their shows at bardrockcafe.com.
The camera fades in on a shot of the ocean. It's getting choppy out. It's late in the afternoon, and there is a fishing boat in the center of the frame. A title card appears on the bottom. Somewhere off the coast, NACS Northwestern Territory. The camera cuts inside, and we see a man piloting this fishing boat. He looks tired, clearly been out for a long day, and just wanting to get home. He hears something, and he looks down at a sonar readout, and he taps it quickly a couple times, and then he knocks on it. Goddamn thing. Never reads right. He picks up a radio. Hey, Billy. Yeah, the damn sonar's messed up again. I need you to take a look at it when we get back. All right, yeah. All right. Sounds good. He hangs up the radio and he keeps looking out towards the ocean. And then all of a sudden, we hear the sound of something massive breaking the surface of the water. The boat rocks to the side. Suddenly, the man startles, holds onto the ship's wheel, and keeps it steady, and he grabs the radio again. Maritime Control, we got something, rogue wave or something out here. Just let the other boats know what's And he stops mid-sentence and stares out the window of the boat. And outside, we see a massive gray thing, an armored creature just starting to break the water, arching its back, and then going under again. And all at once, dozens of eyes open and stare directly at the man in the boat. And he screams. And we cut to black.
Huge thanks to our patrons, KK, Foxgirl Games, Saturn Nieves, Veer, Melanie Archer, Marty Balmer, Paul Kinter, Carl Rigney, Scarlett, Kai McKenna, Arginine the First, Patrick McCullough, Anarchy Barbie, Chip Highbeams, Cassie the Star Bitch, Soph D, Worker Bee 2871, Rosie Common, Elijah Shaw, Lady Elizabeth, Ice Crit, Kathleen Halperin, and John Fulmer. And of course, thanks to everyone for listening.